Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 10th, 2025 meeting of the Board of Education for Arlington Heights School District 25. Our first order of business tonight is a public hearing on the amended budget for 24-25. Do we have any members of the public here to speak as a part of the public hearing? Okay, seeing no comments from the public, I close the public hearing at this time, and we will now move on to our regular agenda for the June 10th, 2025 meeting of the Board of Education for Arlington Heights School District 25. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight, whether in person or virtually. And before we begin, I want to share that our meetings are when the school board conducts its business and are open to the public. Because we are an elected governmental body, we can only take action by majority vote in public meetings like this one. We welcome the public to listen and observe, and we have community input sections on the agenda if you have questions or comments about the business of the board. With that, I call the regular meeting to order, and Ms. O'Brien, would you please call the roll?
Neerman? Here. Tranter? Here. Jogi?
Yes, here.
Scapalato?
Here.
Michael?
Here.
Buchberger?
Here.
Cerniglia?
Here.
Thank you, Lana. And please stand if you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, as we do at so many meetings, we're going to start with our recognitions and presentations, which is some of the favorite moments of our board meetings for our board members. Tonight, we are pleased to recognize the student athletes from South and Thomas Middle Schools that participated in state track and field meet. So thank you for the students and parents for joining us tonight on the last day of school. So we're going to celebrate your achievements. Dr. K is going to come out front. I'm going to meet him out there, and we'll get started.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Kay, Superintendent here in District 25, and super excited to give the microphone off to a couple coaches that want to recognize some stellar students. So let's start with recognizing the coaches from South Middle School track and field. We have Tim Evans, Kim Radzak, Danny Stassen, and Tyler Stordahl. If you guys are here, come on up. I am very impressed that all four of you showed up on the last day of school. This is so cool. I also heard there might be a video. Is that true? Yes. If so, would you guys like to show the video first, or do you want to show it after? After. All right, we'll show it after. So without further ado, thank you for being here, and I'm excited to hear the recognition.
Well, first off, I want to say thank you to the board for having us here today to recognize our wonderful athletes. I also want to take a moment to thank the parents. So if we could give a round of applause for the parents for everything that they've done. The parents for everything that they've done for the athletes, driving them to all the meets, buying them shoes, spikes, bringing them that stuff when they forget it, and just being overall supportive parents. I would also like to thank the coaches at South that I've worked with. I'd like to thank our administrators for their support, and also Thomas Middle School for their support in sharing our track and the collaboration that we've had with them. Lastly, I want to also thank our athletes. So give a round of applause to all the athletes that competed at state. And we're going to hear from Tim Evans a little bit more about those athletes.
Before I go, it's going to go to Coach Radzak.
Stephen, can I have you come up here, please? So each year, our track and field teams at South and Thomas continue to push boundaries and set new standards. This season was no different. Except something truly historic happened at South. Last year, the IESA added a new division for student athletes with physical, visual, or intellectual impairments in providing opportunities for students whose abilities and determination deserve a platform. We introduced this idea to our Stephen last year. He was very excited about it at that opportunity. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out last year. But this year, he came in raring to go. With the support of many people, including Mrs. Holbrook, the admin team at South, Stephen's incredible parents, and GLASA, the Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association, who provided specialized racing and throwing chairs, Stephen trained very hard and made District 25 history. Stephen is the first student in District 25 to compete in the wheelchair division at both the sectional and the state levels. But he didn't just compete, he won. Yes, you are, yep. You are looking at a two-time gold medalist. Stephen won the 100-meter dash and shot put in the wheelchair division. Not only did he do that, he set records at South and now holds the all-time IESA state records for both events. I think on behalf of all of the coaches, we can say that this season has been an absolute honor and a privilege for us. Watching Stephen's drive, courage, and joy has inspired our entire team, our building, and the community at large, and we are so excited to see what's going to happen next for our good old Stephen. So stay up here.
Okay, so we were able to send down quite a few kids this year. We ended up sending 22 kids down to state. So without further ado, I'm going to go through the girls' team first. Sophie Wary, Quinn Johnson, Bella Caldera, Mila Kay, Marley C., McKenna Carroll, Audrey Childs, Lily Newman, Gretchen Heckert, Eliza Ferry, Emily English, Caitlin Tonkovich, Caitlin Grund, Maddie Viken, and Kari Anderson. Congrats to our girls team. Moving on to our boys, we have Rodrigo Zapata Solano, Jake Ayala, Isaac Hamada, Justin Pippins, Yamato Endo, Miko Grazanza, and Stephen Fulton. One big round of applause for our athletes. Thank you.
Since they're all over here, why don't you guys come on this side? Oh, okay. Adam will get an awesome photo. Or if you want to join us for the photo, that'd be great too. Parents, if you want to come around, if you're interested in getting a photo, by all means, step on up. Yeah. Jump on in with them. Look at Kim, he's getting everyone set.
Yeah, all right.
Congratulations. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, Tim. Tyler, thank you. One more round of applause for our South Middle School athletes. And next we have our, thank you very much, Thomas. We do want to close the South presentation with a video. Thank you. Those pictures clearly show the students and the coaches are having a lot of fun. Congratulations one more time to South Middle School. Next, we have our Thomas Middle School athletes, and we have a couple coaches that are here tonight. We have Aaron D'Amico, Dave Keller, Joe Kim, and Chris Papronis. And I did hear that you guys wanted to start with your video. Is that accurate? Sounds great. Let's cue the video. Congratulations. So let's welcome the coaches from Thomas up to the front of the room. Aaron D'Amico, Dave Keller, Joe Kim, and Chris Papronis. Thank you for joining us tonight.
We're very happy to be here. Thank you. All right, so thank you again to the board for having us and all of your support. We want to thank our Thomas admin for their continued support. Whenever we need something, they take care of it. Thank you to all the families and obviously the athletes. You guys are there day in and day out. And thank you also to the South coaches. We love working with you. We really feel like we are a District 25 family. It does not feel like we are competing against each other, which I feel like is rare because usually there's a strong rivalry, and I don't feel like we have that. We just are really glad to be working together. I'll start with calling up all of our girls. We did have only girls make it to state this year, hence the Girls Just Want to Have Fun song. A lot of our girls were not able to attend tonight, but I'll still go through all the names. We had Karina Boduk, Claire, oh, sorry. Claire Casey. Zoha Chaudhry. McKenna Fox. Maddie Sir. Katie Zabo. Veda Ashman. Avery Bashford. Camille Devine. Adelaide Gala. Ellie Karajic. Finley Spokus. Elle Torres. Sophia Quiroz. And Claire Vincent. We would like to say a few things because we had some really outstanding performances this year. We will start with our two who are standing up, and we do have a possible younger sister stand-in who would maybe come up. But for Clara, Clara had really two great runs at the state meet. She posted her personal best in the mile with a time of 5:23. And what was really fantastic about our milers is that all four of them made it to state, so that was fantastic. So that's Clara. And for Adelaide, Adelaide had a really great run at the state meet. She had 3 great races, 2 of which got her name on the Thomas record board. Adelaide now holds the record for the 8th grade girls 800 with a time of 2:25.72 and the mile with a time of 5:17.41. That race also got her 3rd place at state. So way to go, Adelaide. And we know that Maddie can't be here, but we really had to say a few words. Does her younger sister want to step up, Addison? She will be running with us next year, so it's all right, just a warm-up. Maddie had 4 races that she competed in at the state meet. She set a Thomas record in the 800-meter run with a time of 2:20.79, which also earned her the state title and a new IESA state record, which is unbelievable. And she also set the Thomas record in the mile with a time of 5:13.52, which again earned her 1st place and another IESA state record. What is really amazing is that those 2 state records that she now holds were previously held by Nora Eitz, who just set those records last year. So it was pretty amazing. Girls, way to go. You did a great job, and good luck in high school. Also, Katie Zabo is not here, but she did place 6th at the state meet in long jump, and she had a fantastic jump. She also did really well at high jump in sectionals with only practicing like 3 times. So she just missed state, so hopefully we'll get her down there next year, and that was Katie Zabo. Anything else? All right. Sure.
Board members want to join us for a photo as well? Well done. Thank you. No, yeah, she's staying. She said she wants to stay. Yeah. She said, I definitely want to stay. Yeah. A mile in 5:17. Whoa. Congratulations, Thomas Middle School. Yeah, stick around. I think we have one more, yeah? Music? I won't point out that the music teacher just wanted to make sure the table was ready to move when needed. Yes. We have one more celebration we'd like to recognize, a huge accomplishment for our music teachers. And we're going to name them, but I also want to recognize what the actual award is before they come on up. So it's the Best Communities for Music Education, thanks to our dedicated, creative, passionate, and enthusiastic and caring music, chorus, band, and our Music for Youth teachers. The district has been awarded the Best Communities for Music Education, national recognition by the National Association of Music Merchants, also known as NAMM, Foundation. The foundation recognizes and celebrates school districts for their support and commitment to music education. So not only is Arlington Heights a #1 community to live in, but now throw on the music, which I believe helped us to get that recognition. Let's give it up to all of our music teachers. We'll call them up because I see many of them came on the last day of school. Let's start with Dana Berry. Come on up. Congratulations. I don't know if everyone's here, so I'm going to do the best I can with names. If I get close, I would ask that you do come up. Catherine Konamikes. Kenny Cook. Thanks for being here. Len Deptula. Kate Hojek. I saw this one out there. Candy Horton. Congrats. Oksana Lukashevsky. Adam Mead. Catherine Prevette. Caitlin Pucci. Congratulations. Katie Randolph. Caroline Schneider. Yeah. Marcus Zwald. Olivia Weissman. Camille Zeman. And last but not least, with our music teachers in District 25, Casey Whitaker. What's that? Oh, I got him. Congratulations. Remain up here. We have another group we want to recognize, our Music for Youth, our strings instruments. We have, I know I saw at least one, and there might be others, Aaron Kano. Tammy Glassberg. Claudia Huang. Philip Lee. Vania Phillips. James Sanders. And last but not least, I saw you back there. I knew we had at least one. Is it Gruby? Gretchen Gruby. Thank you very much. I see her in the audience. I want to make her a little uncomfortable. I just want to make sure that there was nothing else we wanted to add. Becky Fitzpatrick, was there anything else we wanted to add in the music world? Just a big congratulations. Awesome. So let's do some photos. Board, if I could have you join our music staff and Music for Youth. This group helps Arlington Heights be #1 place to live in Illinois. Thank you very much. Appreciate you guys being here. I didn't ask you guys to bring any instruments, so we won't have any solos. But at this time, I just wanted to say thank you for everybody for coming for the recognition portion. I will save you the hassle. If you'd like to leave and go now, you may do so graciously. Thanks for coming. Enjoy the summer. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time and energy.
I'll be here working.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. K. Thank you, board, for allowing us to take the time to honor all those groups. So I think we're ready to continue on. Next up is board communications. So I'll look to all of you. Are there any updates from our board members over the last month? What's happening? Who's first?
Mr. President, go ahead.
Please, Kevin.
Okay, I just wanted to share that I had the honor and pleasure of sitting in the audience last week for the South Middle School graduation ceremony, and it was great to hear fantastic speeches and performances by the South graduates, but also to see Dr. Jim Morrison get an honorary diploma as he departs from South Middle School as well this year with the 8th graders. And our fellow board member Liz Neerman also gave a great convocation speech as well at that ceremony. So I just wanted to thank all involved in making that event special.
Thank you, Kevin. Anyone else?
Mr. President,
Yes, Deb.
along the same category as Kevin, I wanted to express gratitude and just heart-filled joy attending the Thomas Middle School graduation with Dr. K and some of the board members as well, and having the opportunity to sit on the stage and participate not only in front of the 8th grade graduates, but these were the students that I retired with, so they were near and dear to my heart. But sharing a stage with one of my previous students who also was speaking, the evening doesn't get any better than that. So pure joy, the graduation, so many things to celebrate. Amazed at the number of students who receive honor roll awards. Oh my goodness. The number was just outstanding. So our district, again, another reason why Arlington Heights is #1. The students prove it again and again. And to add to that, another reason why Arlington Heights stays on the radar, along with most of the board members and Dr. K yesterday, being at the ribbon cutting for the rec park and the redo of rec park, the new playground that is just inviting for all students of all ages and all abilities, the tennis courts, the Memorial Library book walk, and all the things to come. I think, Anisha, you'll agree, it's just highly engaging and makes me very proud to be an Arlington Heights resident.
Thank you, Deb.
Well, Mr. President,
Yeah,
I
go
feel
ahead,
like
Liz.
I'd be remiss if I did not congratulate Deb on her amazing speech. I actually got to be at both the Thomas and the South graduations. It's my favorite day of year. Every year, I just look at the students, and I am so proud of the respectful students and the enthusiastic staff and family members. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of this, and thank you to our community. Really, it's amazing kids, and teachers, and parents, and grandparents.
Thank you, Liz. Nisha, did you?
Yeah, Mr. President, no,
Yes.
I want to add to all the celebrations. I also, we've been talking, we're not going to forget this, right? Arlington Heights, #1 community for all the people that are here. And I want to say in Mayor Jim Tenalia's statement that he put out into the community, he said the schools first. I don't know if anybody else noticed, but he said we have a wonderful school, we're #1, and he started with the schools. So just to note that publicly as well. So thank you, Mayor Jim Tenalia and the community. We are truly in a really special community. In talking about all the things that we do, we also have a really amazing Memorial Day parade, which is really meaningful for our community, and it's organized with so much heart. And this year, I got to participate upon the invitation of Greg Padavani, the parade organizer, and it was truly touching. I had the honor of walking in the parade with late William Newgard's mom, a former D25 parent of an alum who was killed in action as he served our country. And I got to talk to a teacher who was also Carol, who just retired. So this young man, I got to learn about him, and maybe some of you know him, I'm sure Dr. K does, but I learned about this young man from the teacher and from mom who was at the, who we were walking with, and William graduated Thomas in 2001, and he joined the Army and was killed in action December 29, 2006. He was young when he was killed in action. He was an infantry soldier in the Army. He always wanted to be in the Army, apparently. And the teacher told me, Carol, she said she remembered that as a student he loved playing dodgeball, and he knew he loved, and he loved eating Skittles, and he always said he was going to join the Army, which he did. And he's buried at Arlington National Cemetery in Area 60, and there's a whole trophy showcase telling his story at Thomas Middle School. So next time I go to Thomas, I'm going to be looking for this, recognition, this memory of him. And William had come back to school in his uniform over the winter Christmas holiday break and passed away a few weeks after that. And that was the last time that they saw him. And when he came, he was in uniform and he did push-ups. And at the school, the teachers really remember him really fondly. So I was really moved. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got to the parade, but then having the honor to walk with William's mom and learning the story and just his dedication to our country, it was really meaningful. So another amazing parade, a meaningful parade hosted by our community. I have a couple more, but I want to see if any of my other folks want to jump in. But I'll keep going. Greg, did you want to jump in before I keep going? I'll keep going. So I also got to go to the art stroll in downtown Arlington Heights and met up with former D25 alums who were presenting their work at the art exhibit. And they had gone to, one of them I was talking to, had gone to Windsor, Thomas, and then Prospect. So one of our D25 alums showcasing his artwork. So much talent that continues to grow. So I thought that was kind of cool. And so I'm continue, like my colleagues, to be proud of living in Arlington Heights with all that our alums are doing and the meaningful heart and work that our former students have done, like William. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Anisha. Any other? Thank you, Liz. Yeah.
Just last, Mr. President, I'd like to put a shout out to all the PTA parents who have survived Maycember and field days and ice cream days and running days and all the special days.
The 8th grade dance.
8th grade dances, yes, I attended the 8th grade dance. I know from experience what a big push these past couple of weeks are. And we couldn't do what we do if we didn't have the support of those parents in our PTA. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Liz. I have a couple, if I can indulge all of you. The first one I'm going to start with, and it's fitting given the people that were here earlier this evening. I want to tell you about a program I saw, the Patton 5th grade musical. It was just an absolutely tremendous performance. It's 2 nights, 2 casts. What a production. I want to commend the efforts of, there's so many parent volunteers who are organized by Kim Dunning and then supported by the 5th grade teachers, Mrs. Anderley, Mrs. Sione, and Mrs. Gumas. And then, of course, all of this happened under the leadership of our very own Mr. Whitaker, who really does such amazing work making sure that every student in the grade has a chance to shine. We had heard about how amazing it is, but you really can't, you just have to experience it. And I mean, I experienced it as a parent, but just really, I understand the amount of work that goes into it and the vision. So thank you, Mr. Whitaker, and of course, all the people that supported that effort. It was really amazing. The The other thing, I just was reflecting on the time of year and all the things like you were mentioning, Liz, and others, all the things that are happening. I mean, we have these graduations that were amazing, just to see the culmination of these students' careers in District 25. We participated in the 5th grade track meet. I mentioned the 5th grade musical, 5th grade recognitions, and all these moments that happen of transition and change. And what I'm really, across the district this happens, and I think all of us would have stories, but just how well our staff does in taking students from one place to another and helping them grow and change, whether it is those momentous times when we're transitioning from 8th grade to high school, 5th grade to middle school, you know, or just joining us at the kindergarten level, whatever it is. But it's just so clear how much care and effort our staff, from admin all the way, you know, teachers, front office staff, whoever, nurses, you know, wherever you are in the District 25 family. And I just wanted to express gratitude for all those efforts, because it makes a difference. It makes a difference. All right. If there's no other updates, then Kevin, I think we are ready for the legislative report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Most of what I'm sharing today are updates based on what I learned about at last week's EdRed meeting, which took place on June 6th. This was held at the Wheeling District 21 admin building, and I think this was the first monthly building I've actually been able to attend in person. I think all the others I've been on Zoom, but this was the first time I wasn't at school myself, so I actually got to go there and sit at the meeting live. Bridget shared with everybody in attendance and everybody who was on via Zoom, the General Assembly adjourned their spring session on the morning of June 1st. And some stats that she shared that EdRed had been tracking over the course of this assembly: 900 bills that were in education related in some way or another, and out of those 900, 50 of those bills made it to Governor Pritzker's desk by the end of the session. Notable bill that did not pass, but will probably be resurrected in the future at some point, is the cell phone ban bill. So that one did not pass through the both houses. Information for other legislation that is on hold, so it's not going to the governor for signature, but it could come back in the future. House Bill 3772, which deals with the suspension or expulsion of students grades 2 and younger. So that did not receive enough votes to pass and was pulled from the record. They're expecting it to return in the future. EdRed's position is now neutral based on some changes that were made to the language in that one. Another one is House Bill 1358. That is the one about waivers that I think we're all pretty familiar with at this point. And that one did not pass, and Bridget Peach did share, and I wanted to pass along, she thinks that the reason that did not pass was largely in part to the EdRed advocacy and all of the people who filed witness slips, whether they were board members, educators, administrators, so she expressed her gratitude for that. Another one that, this one did pass the House. It has not made it to the Senate yet for a vote. But it's regarding AI-generated FOIA requests. So with, you know, we talked a lot about AI earlier this evening. With AI being in such wide use now, there is concern that schools may be bombarded with FOIA requests that are not generated by actual living humans, and therefore this bill would basically give the option to a school district to request verification that the person submitting the FOIA request is an actual person and not AI, and then they would have up to, I believe, 30 days to respond and verify their legitimacy before the school district has to respond to the FOIA request. Evidence-based funding did not get cut, but it did not get expanded beyond previous year budgets. There has still been no fix to Tier 2 as far as pensions are concerned. The state did set aside $75 million for retirement systems for when Tier 2 educators' benefits violate safe harbor. So in other words, once we get to a point in the state where there are enough Tier 2 educators that are reaching retirement age that their compensation falls below where they would then have to receive Social Security benefits, basically, is what that money is set aside to cover, but it's basically was described as putting a Band-Aid on the wound rather than actually solving the problem. One legislative win was the dual credit bill did pass, and then this actually came up with our policies, and I thought it was interesting. This also came up last week's EdRed meeting, is that the definition of cyberbullying, similar to the definition of sexting, has been expanded to include AI-generated deepfakes, or digitally created content that purports to be a person but is not actually something that person did or said. And then one of the attendees over Zoom had a question about the federal funding for grants based on changes in the Department of Education at a federal level. And although nothing concrete has been done since there hasn't been a federal budget passed yet at this point, the governor and the state legislature are not ruling out the possibility of a summer session if one is needed to respond to any changes in the federal budget for education in Illinois. And then let's see, I'm trying not to too far in the weeds here. In the past, there's been discussion about the seat belts on buses. That actually did pass, but it does not go into effect until July of 2031, and it only applies to newly purchased school buses, not buses that exist in a school's fleet. Bridget said she wouldn't be surprised if the legislation on that changed again before 2031, so don't necessarily count on that staying the way it is. And then evaluations for student growth effective July 1st of this year. Local committees can now decide whether student data should be included, student growth data, in the evaluation of educators. So I shared quite a lot already, so I'll hand it over to Stacy if there's anything she wants to add.
Well, thank you both for staying on top of that for us.
I apologize, Mr. President. One more thing. I don't want to forget to include this. This Thursday, I will be attending the EdRed Mini Summit. And then they asked us to request that everybody save the date of August 1st from 8 to 10 a.m. Also in Wheeling District 21 in their boardroom will be the EdRed Legislative Breakfast. So put that on your calendars if you're interested and able to attend. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kevin. All right, and Anisha, I think we're ready for the ISB and COSPA report.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. So ISB has been busy at at the leadership level. There are 8 new directors, which includes the director from Chicago Public Schools, which is new. So that'll be a good inclusion. And there's 2 divisions have no one stepping forward to be director. So we should be really grateful that we're in the North Cook area, because we are a very active division here in North Cook with different leadership opportunities. So that's great. At the division, they also, at that level, they also evaluate the executive director, which just happened. And Kimberly Small has been excellent executive director, as we all know, and they approved a salary increase. And as we know, ISB is separate from all districts. It's a non-for-profit organization. So they were able to do that extension and, granted that extension and awarded her, which I think is really, she deserves that. They also reviewed and approved the 19 Constitution Committee recommendations, which will now come to the Resolutions Committee, which meets in August. And as we get closer to III conference, we'll be discussing those resolutions to see what our board wants to do, so for which way we want to vote. So kind of look out for that information as it comes out later on before the conference. There's also going to be 3 webinars for delegates, and that's open to any of us to attend, including myself. So I'll be attending that delegate kind of presentation, and what happens at those delegate webinars is they go over all the different changes, and it helps us understand what the different ones are before we get to our board meeting, and Dr. K kind of walks us through it as well. So look out for those 3 webinars that will be coming up over the summer. And this was interesting, and this is probably for our new board members, we know we have superstar board members. So 91% across the state of Illinois of new Board of Education members have completed their training. And I know our new board members, Deb and Melissa, have been busy with a lot of taking on all this information, because we know that as board members, there's a lot of training, continued learning and development that we do that is so important because it trickles down to our students. And then IASB is also embarking on a strategic plan. I've offered to serve on that strategic planning process. This will include, members from across the state. So they're still deciding on who will be part of that committee, which will be completed June 2026. And the directors are really focused, on greater member engagement, not only at division dinners, but also at the joint annual conference. So we always want to, as far as a board that kind of goes to these conferences together, learn so much. So kind of save those dates. It happens the weekend before Thanksgiving, so it's always safe for us. And then we're also one of the 566 districts who've approved the Vision 2030 resolution. So we've already checked that box, so we're doing great with that. And then at COSBA, and look out for those COSBA updates, and the new executive director has now taken on her role. She's amazing. We heard her, we saw her at COSBA, and her name is Kathy McFarland. And so we're wishing her all the best as she does her leadership for COSBA nationally. So thank you.
Thank you, Anisha. All right, Liz, updates from NSSEO?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. NSSEO is celebrating graduations and milestones much as we are, so lots of celebration. Couple of new things later on in our agenda tonight. We'll be voting on the NSSEO resolution, so I'll leave that to you to talk about later. One of the things that we're working on as board members, as members of our home boards as well, is we're looking at the Articles of Agreement in the spirit of each of the member boards taking a look at our organizations. NSSEO as a whole is going to be looking at our Articles of Agreement. And what I plan to do is we have a draft, and I'm going to the original version, I'm going to sit with Brian and Stacy and Diane. What I'd like to get a thumbs up or a thumbs down from the rest of you is, would you all like to take a look at that and be a part of that process as well? Would you like to leave it to us and have me report back? In the next 12 months, we'll be kind of figuring out as a board how we want to tackle these issues and answer these questions. So this is something we can table. If you have any opinions or thoughts now, regardless, Brian, I'll be meeting with you once things calm down a little bit and we can get started. But do you guys have any thoughts, concerns, questions, immediate reactions? So if you'd like to be a part of the editing of the NSSEO Articles of Agreement.
Just to be clear, so are you looking for volunteers now, or?
What I'm looking for is, do we want to have other volunteers outside of Brian, Stacy, Diane, and myself? Or do we just want the 4 of us to work on it and bring it back to you guys? How as a board do we want to attack editing this? We are not being assigned District 25 will give feedback. Do we want to give feedback as everyone is sitting at this table, or do we want to give feedback as me, Brian, Diane, and Stacy?
Well, first, Liz, I just want to say thank you for opening it up and being transparent and inclusive, with the process. Of course, we do trust you in that role, but are there thoughts about this from anyone around the table? Yep, Nisha, did you have?
So here's a thought. I can send, or I can have Brian send out to the group the existing Articles of Agreement. And if you want to take a look and if you have any thoughts, you can reply directly to me. And if you're good with it, and I'll kind of put a date by it. If I don't hear anything, I'm assuming we're good, and we'll move forward with a smaller group. But if you read it and you have a passion for it and you want to be a part of it, by all means, everyone's welcome to help out. Would that work?
I was going to say the other way, because we trust you folks to lead the charge, that when you're finished up with what you're editing, it'd be good to just be educated about it, to look at it at the tail end.
Yeah, to build on what you're saying, yeah, we could then bring it here to an open session. We'd have time to review it, and then we're abiding by OMA, the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay, so the direction we're going is we'll meet, go through our questions, issues, then I'll bring those questions, issues to NSSEO. We'll clean it all up, then I'll bring it back and share with everyone, or do you want to see it before? Do you want to hear our questions and issues? I mean, this is a lot of detail, I apologize, but we have to talk about it here, so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you working through it with us here, because there's been a lot of changes, and so thank you for allowing us to work through this. Dr. K?
Yeah, so Liz, I appreciate you bringing it up, and my recommendation would be you and I meet, we bring Diane and Stacy into it as well, and then we bring it here. Because there may be articles we have no interest in touching, leaving as is, and maybe there's a couple we have an interest in just getting some feedback. Does the rest of the board support the questions or directions we want to go on certain articles? So if they trust us to do that, let's do it, and then we'll bring it back in open for you guys to see what we're recommending for any kind of change.
Okay, great. And I think if we can make a goal for us to meet before the July meeting.
I'm going to look at Lana. She loves working my calendar. She will make magic happen.
Well, we'll figure it out, because we don't really have a deadline on NSSEO's table yet. If one comes up, we'll scramble.
Yeah. So, yeah, I appreciate it. We'll try and get it before the July board meeting for us to sift through it. Thank you, Liz.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. And thank you, Dr. K, for that suggestion, that because we just had a policy committee meeting today, that's not dissimilar at all. So I think that should be a great format for everyone. Okay. All right. Well, thank you again, Liz. Now is the time in our agenda we set aside for community input. If a member of the public wishes to address any item on tonight's agenda, please complete one of the blue forms provided on the table outside the room there, and hand the card to Lana O'Brien. Please note on your card if you wish to speak now at the first community input, or if you wish to speak later, should we have a second community input opportunity. So we have no blue slips at this time, so we're going to go on to communications from district partners. And Dr. K is going to lead off with the report from the PTA.
Yeah, on behalf of Amanda Bonsali, I'd like to give the report for the PTA. At the end of April, the Arlingtonites Council of PTAs hosted their annual scholarship breakfast and honored 12 recipients who have attended School District 25. It was a memorable morning, and we wish them the best of luck in their future. Additionally, they had 11 students from our schools honored at the Northwest Cook Region PTA Reflection Showcase at the end of April. Next year's Reflections PTA theme has been selected, and it is I Belong. The PTA would also like to thank all the volunteers who have worked so hard in May to provide meals, snacks, and surprises for all of the teachers for Teacher Appreciation Week. Our middle school PTAs also were hard at work to make 8th grade celebrations extra special for the graduates. The Arlingtonites Council of PTA held their final general membership meeting in May, and Amanda is pleased to announce that the following people have been elected to the 25-26 Arlingtonites Council of PTA Executive Board, starting with President Aaron Lakomsky, President-elect Suchi Joshi, Vice President Effie Kalkunis, Treasurer Samantha Nowakowski, and Secretary Julie Huelis. Who else? Julie, I apologize. Who else? Congratulations to all of those new members being part of the executive board for the Arlingtonites Council of PTAs. One more note, when we register your child for school next year, make sure you join the PTA. It has been a pleasure to serve as the Arlingtonites Council of PTA's president for the 24-25 school year. On behalf of Amanda, she hopes we all, including students and staff of School District 25, have an amazing summer. And thank you to Amanda.
All right, and thank you, Dr. K. Dr. K, do we have a report, or Gina here? No, I don't see Gina here. Okay. Do we have a report?
I did not have one from ABC 25.
Okay. All right. Well, then we'll go on to ATA. Welcome, Allison Berg. Step forward to the mic, please.
Okay, good. This is my second time on the mic today. We did live morning announcements this morning. It was like a big deal. I was a newscaster earlier today. It was quite the exciting last day of school. Okay, good evening and happy last day of school. As my partner Casey back there said earlier, today feels like June 50th. The end of the school year is always such a whirlwind as we race to the finish line. Lots of fun has been happening throughout the district. End of the year picnics, field days, graduations, celebrations, all make for a fun and jam-packed last few weeks. So here are some of the exciting things going on around the district. There it is. Our French students at South completed projects that says something in French that I'm not even going to attempt, but means my dream vacation. Students use a technique developed by a 20th century French author, whose name I'm also not going to attempt, which combines literature and art to present their work. So here's a few pictures from their project. It's like going by itself. I'm not even touching it. Go back. Okay, we'll see. I swear. Okay. Patton kindergartners participated in some purposeful play. Their play has evolved throughout the year, and the teacher states that she's thankful that this was added to the kindergarten day. So there's a picture. I swear it's moving by itself. So pictures. I'm not pressing it, and it's going. Are you doing it? Thank you. Messing with me. Good. That's good. Stop right there. All right. You make me think I'm totally insane today. It's been a long day. All right. A Patton fifth graders took a trip to downtown Chicago. This is our purposeful play. There they are. To the Bean last week. At South, our ML students celebrated improvements on their access test. Pictured as our 7th grade students, there they are. Every student received a certificate, a group photo, and an individual photo that was sent home to parents. They did awesome on their test. At Westgate, next slide please. The first grade class made a cookbook with the help of their families. Students took them home to make lots of recipes to remind them of their classmates over the summer, and they also wrapped up their end of the year money unit in math with a store. Students used play money to count up and purchase various items, and parents volunteered to work at their store, and that's a picture of them at their store right there. Awesome. Stay on this slide for a second. Board member Deb Tranter visited Olive School, 3rd graders, for a fun summer bucket list project, and there she is pictured with their students and their buckets. Dryden, thank you. Thank you, sir. Has some special moments at their end of the year assembly, a special surprise song sung by all students in a video for Mrs. Sessler, as well as one last sing-along of the Dryden School song led by their 5th graders. 3rd grade, this is a couple of pictures of our 3rd grade students at Greenbrier just wrapping up their year. Couple more, one more maybe. There's one more. Throughout the year, next slide, please. Thanks. Throughout the year, each 5th grade class at Olive Mary Stitt paired up with one kindergarten class for activities and reading together. Miss Muir's class and Miss Naughton's class had their last session last week. The kindergartners brought in games to play with their buddies, and then they had popsicles and a short playtime outside. On the last day, the students exchanged goodbye notes to one another and gave final hugs and high fives. There's a couple of these slides you can go through. There they are with their buddies, which is awesome tradition. Perfect. You stop right there. These are 7th graders at South Middle School Monday doing some kite flying. There's a couple of pictures for these. Thank you, Adam. You're awesome. Maybe one more? Yeah, cute. Yeah. On May 28th and 29th, Patton 5th graders performed their off-Broadway production of Aladdin. Over the past few months, the entire 5th grade, along with Mr. Whitaker and the 5th grade team, Mrs. Anderley, Mrs. Sione, and Mrs. Gumas, came together to rehearse and perform a full musical production for Patton's staff, students, parents, and community, along with Patton's amazing parent chairs, volunteers. Students rehearsed solo and group numbers. learn choreography, fine-tune their acting skills, and help build and paint sets, program lights, and run sound for the annual 5th grade production. Under all the costume sets and jazz hands, the patent performers and crew members of Aladdin truly came together to create a unique experience that will be remembered for years to come. Awesome pictures from that. Thank you, Casey. And finally, Windsor, along with many other schools, had field day, and these is a couple of pictures of some students enjoying a good time by all. So again, thank you so much for the opportunity to allow me to share a few fun things going around the district. I'm wishing you all a great summer. Thank you, thank you.
All right.
I literally thought I was losing my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Our next agenda item is the consent agenda, and this is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President.
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve those items on the consent agenda as follows. A, personnel report and addendum to personnel report. B, treasurer's reports. C, invoices. D, special meeting minutes of May 7th, 2025. E, regular and closed session meeting minutes of May 13th, 2025. F, superintendent memberships and professional development.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second?
Thank you, Anisha. Lana, if you could please call the vote.
Tranter,
Yes.
Jogi, Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. We are now going to the business and finance section of the agenda, and we start with an action item for the Music for Youth contract. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President.
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve the proposed agreement for music services with Music for Youth of Arlington Heights for the 2025-26 through 2027-28 school years.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second?
Thank you, Anisha. And so, Stacy, if you could share with the information with the board.
So this is renewal of a 3-year agreement with the Music for Youth organization that provides the string services for the district students. It's been in place for a very long time. I was in 3rd grade, I believe, when they first introduced Music for Youth to the district. I remember. I signed up the next day. So this is a renewal. Our contract is typically, and with this one, based on an increase each year tied to CPI, as our revenues are tied. And other than that, the provisions of the contract remain the same. We did meet, Dr. Kay and I met with representatives from the organization to just review and go through some of the details of the contract, and that is what you have in front of you tonight.
Thank you, Stacy. Any questions from the board? All right, seeing none. Lana, when you're ready, if you could please call the vote.
Jogi,
Yes.
Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman,
Yes.
Tranter.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. The next agenda item is an action item for the resolution transferring funds from the working cash fund to the capital projects fund. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President.
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve the resolution transferring interest from the working cash fund to the capital projects fund not to exceed $178,800.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second?
Thank you, Anisha. And Stacy, if you could talk the board through this one.
This is an annual transfer, as discussed with the board for the last couple of years. We are taking the opportunity to transfer interest earned on the income or the funds sitting in the working cash fund to the capital projects fund to help support future capital projects needs. We've already exceeded the amount, the $178,000 in interest income this year in the working cash fund. Obviously, when I set the amount at the beginning of the year, it's based on a projected interest, but rates haven't dropped to the extent that we had anticipated. So we would be limited to the $178,800 that was anticipated in the budget.
Thank you, Stacy. Any questions from the board? All right, seeing none, Lana, if you could call the vote.
Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman,
Yes.
Tranter,
Yes.
Jogi.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. We're now on to an information item. This is the Food and Nutrition Services update. So we'll welcome Sandy Voss to the board table. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you. Good
yeah,
evening,
when you're
everyone.
ready.
I've formally met most of you, but I'll reintroduce myself to the new board members. My name is Sandy Voss. I'm the Director of Food Service here in the district, also a registered dietitian. I've been with the district since January of 2022. Seems like just yesterday. But I've been in the business of feeding children since the beginning of my career in 2006. I was thrilled when the opportunity arose to come back to Arlington Heights, where I was born and raised, to help support the community I grew up in. All right, so just a little update about our department, our goals and initiatives for this year. So every year we set goals as a department to support our strategic plan, our overall district strategic plan. This year we worked to enhance the quality of the foods being served through equipment upgrades. For several years we've invested a lot of time and research in identifying high quality foods to provide our students. Some examples include 100% beef products with no added soy, whole muscle chicken, fresh local produce, to name a few. As we continue to strive to provide the best quality for our students, we've transitioned our focus to now upgrading our aging equipment, which you know. And that will help retain the quality of what we're serving. Our second goal area this year was to engage with students outside the cafeteria. If you have never been in one of our schools during the lunch hour, I would invite you to reach out to me and I would love to have you come join me. You will quickly learn that lunchtime is not only fun, but fast and furious. While my staff engages with the students daily, the opportunity for student engagement outside the cafeteria is critical to the success of our programs, and I'll explain in a little bit why. So just a quick update on our our finances. So I'm proud to lead a department that's operated in-house. As you know, we don't source a third party to provide our services. Therefore, it really allows us to fully reinvest everything back into our meal programs to support what's best for our students here in the district. I really appreciate you as the board supporting me and the longstanding history we've had with supporting in-house programs. From a business standpoint, financially, we've always strived to run net neutral. And I'm sorry, this slide's a little bit dated. I did update it, but it's got the data nonetheless. But we currently have a fund balance in Fund 11, and we have a reinvestment plan for that fund balance. Part of our plan is to invest in our food service equipment like I shared. As you're aware, we've been replacing the aging equipment and purchasing new equipment, and I will tell you why that's impactful to what we're doing. But before we do that, I need to tell you about the money part, right? So a quick overview. You can see the top three areas of our major expenditures. We monitor our expenditures closely, and some of the things we do to control costs is participating in the Northern Illinois Purchasing Co-op, which I'm thankful for your support in. It provides us large volume purchasing and a wider access of product availability for our students. We also use national key performance indicators such as meals per labor hour to help build staffing plans, which creates a sustainable staffing model for our operation. From a revenue standpoint, you could see some trends in the data. So in the last 3 years, our federal funding has decreased, and this is mainly due to the removal of funding post-pandemic. And then our local funding from our student meal sales essentially has increased due to participation increases. You can't see the state funding because it's really less than 1% of our overall revenues, but you see we do get some state funding. So on to the fun stuff. So we realize not everyone sees behind the scenes, so I tried to throw some pictures up there. But we do have existing operational constraints, and mainly that's the lack of on-site production kitchens at our elementary schools. So we had made some changes at our middle schools, who produces the food for all 7 elementaries, to help ensure that the quality is retained from purchase to actual from receiving it in the door to the actual service to our students. Last summer, you approved the investment into combi ovens. You could see on the bottom screen, the bottom two pictures, us loading the ovens. They are really cool technology where you can inject moist and dry heat into products, which really retains the integrity of the product. These ovens make a huge, huge difference in our operation. Everything's cooked evenly and properly, and it really retains the product well. We've also invested in new delivery equipment and vehicles in the last few years. The new transport system allows us to cook products, put it directly in hot holding, and hold it until it's served to students. In the past, it was being removed from ovens, ambient temp, put back in hot box, so there's a lot of moving back and forth. So this has been a beautiful change for us, and beautiful vehicles. Our drivers are very happy. All right, so let's talk about student engagement. So student voice is the key to our menu development process. Even though I've been doing this for almost 20 years, scary to say, and as a mom of 3 school-age kids, I will never claim to be the expert in knowing our student taste buds, as you could probably attest to as parents. There are a few ways we determine new menu items. One is through our purchase data. Second is through our student survey data. We do random surveys with our students on occasion. And then the last is the most beneficial, which is student taste testing. Students, believe it or not, provide the most honest advice and feedback. And we literally use that data in a percentage scale to determine what we place on our menus. So our teaching staff has been amazing in supporting this work of ours and welcoming us a couple times a year into their classroom to work with their students. And as you know, we also engage with our students in collaborative work with our teaching staff with the Flex Farm hydroponic systems. So growing hydroponically engages our students in a process of growing their own fresh food. Sometimes we're serving it during the lunch hour, sometimes we're having parties with it. This hands-on learning opportunity provides a unique experience that sparks learners to think creatively about engaging with the communities and the global food system. My favorite's that picture on the bottom right of that little guy. So if you want to see more, and thanks with our partnership with ABC 25, who helped fundraise to receive these units, we have started a classroom impact section on our website to kind of upload pictures to keep our community in the loop of these farms. So now that I've shared the goals this year, I'd like to share a few department stats, my favorite part. So numbers speak volumes. Our staff is amazing. They work hard every day. My favorite saying when I walk into South and Thomas when they're feverishly preparing 2,200 plus meals every morning is that you are the busiest restaurant in Arlington Heights today. And it's usually about 10 o'clock in the morning, so they legitimately are the busiest restaurant. So this year we did 394,000 meals. I could tell you the peak number I've ever seen in this district was in 21-22 when we were feeding all students for free. And we served 404,000 meals. So, which is amazing, and it's a testament to the work my staff is doing. So we've had an increase of 13% from last school year. That's also including our full-day kindergarten students. And we've increased the meals served daily approximately 27% from the 22-23 school year. And this was the year. 22-23 was the first school year we went back to everyone paying for school meals. And then this was a fun stat that 86% of our students enrolled in our district at some point participated in our school lunch program this year. And lastly, our team is made up of 36 staff members, small and mighty. Over 50% of them reside in our community. We also, another area that makes our program unique is we obviously have a dietitian, and then my assistant director has a professional culinary background, so she brings a lot of innovation to our program. Our team is very much a part of the student community, as you can see here. These were all thank you notes that I found posted up on coolers or, out when I was visiting them the last few weeks of school. The investment in caring our staff has in our students is truly evident, and it's really the heart of what we do. Thank you for your time this evening and allowing me to update you on our department, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Looking at my colleagues, any questions or comments from the
I
board?
just have a quick question for you out of curiosity.
Yes.
We saw that you do a student survey. Does the district ever do a parent survey as far as things they'd like to see on the lunch menu?
That's a
Just
great
curious.
question. We have not done one since I've been here, but I know there are districts that do something like that, and we have looked into how to engage the community as a whole. My goal is to start with the students, to see what they're really liking and not liking, because they will tell you, which is awesome. Yes, I said, don't ever be shy to share with me, because they feel bad sometimes. I said, no, I want to hear. I want to hear what you, because it's your tastes that matter, not mine, you know, so.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for giving us the behind the scenes and even your background. You know, I didn't know the dietitian part, all the 20 years that you put in. So thank you so much. And I can totally believe the increase because I think my son is the one who's a big percentage of that food. He doesn't eat at home, but he loves school food. And you know, breaking the stereotype of lunch. You know, usually when folks think about school lunches, they're not thinking about what we have here in District 25 because of the leadership and other historic leadership, the legacy we have with our culinary and the food that we provide our students. And it's really, I want to truly thank you for that, the student voice and that student engagement. And again, I'll bring a personal example. My son doesn't email principals and students or superintendents. I've encouraged him to, but last week, he sent Miss Sandy an email because he had an idea and about having fun food on the last day. And today he came home and he's like, guess what I had? I had smoothies today, and healthy smoothies. So just the fact that you encourage student participation, it's really coming through in sometimes our quieter students. And your inclusive leadership in providing, like I saw that note, you know, thank you for making me this amazing gluten-free lunch. And you're doing this for students of all different dietary needs, right? May it be gluten-free, or if a parent is coming to you for kosher meals or any kind of meals, you're so aware of it and so proactive in your leadership and so, your advocacy of things like that. So I want to say, as a mom and a school board member, I truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anisha. And I just want to build on what Anisha said, and you know, the impact of your work is clear, Sandy. You know, our schools, we want them to be, you know, places where students can feel like they belong, and if you can get a meal that works for you, especially if you have different needs, that's pretty important. So, and I know the level of detail you put into that. So, the numbers are amazing, but you know, the sense of our schools that, this is a place where students can belong. Food is foundational, and the impact of your work is felt.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Sandy.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. So it should stay on the menu, is what you're saying.
Staff feedback inbound.
Now that Allison brought that up, you know, I'm so glad you're encouraging us to tour, and I want to, you know, I want to put my name down for that tour.
I'd be happy to show you guys anything. It's wonderful.
Can I try some of that orange chicken too?
Yes, we could do tastings too.
Okay. No, thank you. No,
we were skilled at taste testing. We've got it down. So.
Okay, sounds good. When school starts back, we'll go. Deb and I are coming.
Please.
All right. Thank you again, Sandy. The next agenda item is an action item for the 2024-25 amended budget. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President?
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education adopt the 2024-2025 amended budget as presented.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Anisha. And Stacy, if you could take us through this item.
So the amended budget was actually presented 2 meetings ago, back in April, and had to meet all the same requirements as the typical budget adoption that we do in the fall. So we did post notice in the paper, haven't had any feedback from the community. And as a reminder, the purpose of amending the budget this year was really threefold. One was for some slight accounting differences for the bond sale, since they were sold at a premium, which I wouldn't have known they would be. one based on some utility costs and prior year billing that we were not aware hadn't been added on for ComEd, that 2 summers later they've identified. And then the other with the change in our capital asset threshold this year, when we did some budgeting, there's some money that was in the wrong type of account, so we just had to do some reallocation to make sure we met the purchases based on the capital asset threshold. So the difference, I believe, was an increase on the expense side of $316,000. And on the revenue side, I'm not sure. On the revenue side, sorry, on the expense side, $579,484, $316,000 of which was the utilities, $263,000 was related to the bond sale, and then $400,000, just over $400,000 in revenue, which was also related to the bond sale. So a net impact on the budget of $179,421 increase in net costs.
Okay, thank you, Stacy. And any questions from the board? All right, seeing none, Lana, if you could please call the vote.
Michael?
Yes.
Buchberger?
Yes.
Cerniglia?
Yes.
Neerman?
Yes.
Tranter?
Yes.
Jogi?
Yes.
Scapalato?
Yes. And thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. We're going to move to the personnel and planning section of the agenda. We start with an action item for the 2025-2026 personnel plan. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve the personnel plan for 2025-2026 as presented.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Good.
Thank you, Anisha, and welcome, Kendra, to the board table. And go ahead and when you're ready.
Wonderful, thank you. So tonight I'm presenting the personnel plan for the 25-26 school year. These staffing projections are informed by student enrollment, program requirements, state mandates, identified student needs, and the strategic goals of our district. Following thorough discussions with building administrators and cabinet members, we're prepared to recommend the following updates to our personnel plan. Under contingency, we recommend continuing the following positions that were supported by the contingency fund this year: the LMC team leader stipend, lunch supervision, PE teacher support across the district, 2 additional creative arts sections at Thomas, and 2 district registered nurse floaters. In addition, these specific recommendations, we will continue to include a contingency amount in the budget to address potential mid-year staffing needs that may arise. Under special education, based on student needs and our established support formula, we are recommending the following increases in special education staffing. An increase in special education resource teacher FTE at Olive and South, increase in social work FTE at Windsor and Westgate to support our instructional and integrated services students, increase in speech language pathologist, occupational therapist, and a board certified behavior analyst based on specific student needs, 2 student services program specialists, 1 at Windsor and 1 at Westgate. These positions will focus on improving instructional practices for students with disabilities, building staff capacity, and ensuring consistent, high-quality supports across buildings. Additional recommended positions, we've made the following additional staffing recommendations for consideration by the board: an adjustment of multilingual support at South Middle School, an additional increase of creative arts sections, and administrative support at Thomas to support student enrollment. Restructuring of an administrative position and a manager position at the district office, and an increase in custodial support. At this time, I recommend the Board of Education approve the personnel plan for 25-26 as presented. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Kendra. Any questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, Lana, if you could please call the vote.
Buchberger?
Yes.
Cerniglia? Yes. Neerman,
Yes.
Tranter. Yes. Jogi,
Yes.
Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. And the next agenda item is an action item for the 2025-2026 employee compensation. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve the 2025-2026 employee compensation for current teacher assistants, building support technicians, registered nurses, educational support personnel, other support personnel, food service, and administrators as submitted.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Anisha. And Kendra, if you could take us through this item.
Yep. Next, I'd like to present to the board our non-union salary proposal for 25-26. This proposal includes an adjustment to the compensation structure for our teaching assistants. We have developed a 3-tiered compensation model designed to better reflect the varied responsibilities within these roles, particularly those positions that support students with significant behavioral, medical, or personal care needs. In addition, we conducted a comprehensive salary study analyzing teacher assistant compensation across comparable area districts. Based on this analysis, we are recommending an overall increase to the base pay for this group of employees to ensure our salary offerings remain competitive and align with the demands of this role. Additionally, we are presenting our administrative compensation plan for 25-26. The board is presented with individual contracts for all returning administrators. All administrators that are not currently in the middle of a multi-year contract or part of a retirement agreement are receiving either a 1 or 2-year contract. The increases in compensation allow Arlington Heights School District to remain competitive and still fiscally responsible. It also allows us to develop and retain outstanding administrators to lead our communities. We are fortunate to have minimal leadership mobility, and we are grateful that we will be able to retain and develop our current leadership team. I recommend that the Board of Education approve the 25-26 compensation for these employees. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
All right. Thank you, Kendra. Yes. Any questions from the board? Okay. Lana, when you're ready, if you could please call the vote.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman,
Yes.
Tranter. Yes. Jogi,
Yes.
Scapalato, Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. And the next agenda item is an action item for the Memorandum of Understanding for the Micro-Credential Program. Can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve the Memorandum of Understanding Micro-Credential Program as presented.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Anisha. And Kendra, again.
Yes. Tonight I'm requesting your approval of a memorandum of understanding between the Arlington Heights School District 25 and the Arlington Heights Teacher Association to implement a micro-credentialing program. This program represents a collaborative effort between the district and the ATA to offer a competency-based, job-embedded professional learning opportunity for our certified staff. Participants who successfully complete the program will earn professional development hours and, if eligible, credit for salary schedule advancement under the guidelines set forth in the current collective bargaining agreement. The MOU outlines the structure, expectations, and alignment with our strategic goals, and the program will run through the end of this current CBA in June of 2026. We're excited to offer this new opportunity to our educators and appreciate your consideration.
All right. Thank you, Kendra. Any questions from the board?
Mr. President?
Yes, Deb.
Not a question so much as a comment, if I may. Reading through, I just want to share, as a previous educator, I find this opportunity to be phenomenal. The opportunity to earn the professional development hours that are necessary to expand your teaching license while at the same time growing in your learning for current reading, spelling, phonics programs. We couldn't ask for anything better. So I'm pleased with what you're offering. Thank you.
I'd like to give lots of kudos to Becky Fitzpatrick for that.
All right. Thank you, Deb. All right. If there's no other comments.
Mr. President?
Oh, thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
For interrupting.
In addition to echoing what Deb said about what a fantastic idea this is, I just had a quick question. So it mentions that the teachers who participate will earn 6 credit hours toward advancement. What are the current lane stipulations on the salary schedule for teachers who might participate? So for example, if a teacher was at master's plus 0 and they got the 6, how many more credit hours would they need to go to the next lane?
Great question. I can see Brian K. pulling up the contract for me. I usually keep a photo of it on my phone because I'm always doing placement. Let's see who can find it faster.
Winner.
You got it? Okay.
So after the master's lane, we have a master's plus 8, we have a master's plus 16, and a master's plus 32. I just want to make sure I'm checking the right years.
You're totally correct. I got it too.
Good.
I concur.
Yeah. So for next school year, the 25-26 salary schedule, which is the last one in our current agreement, we have master's 8, 16, 32. Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, Kevin, for that question. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, Lana, if you could please call the vote.
Neerman,
Yes.
Tranter,
Yes.
Jogi,
Yes.
Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. The next item is the 2025-26 calendar revision. This is an information item. So Kedra, if you could take us through this.
Sure. As part of our ongoing efforts to ensure safe and efficient school calendar, I'm bringing forward a recommended revision to the 25-26 school year calendar based on feedback from the calendar committee. Specifically, we're proposing to move the scheduled school improvement day from Monday, April 6th, which is what it currently is, to Tuesday, March 17th. We found out after the meetings of the calendar committee that March 17th is scheduled as a primary election day. And while we don't know if we will be an official polling site until about January, we anticipate that several of our schools will be used. So given the safety concerns raised by staff and families in previous years about having students in our buildings during public access, the committee believes it would be best to designate that day as a non-attendance day for students. This adjustment will maintain the number of student attendance days, and it supports both safety and operational planning. So we are asking to move April 6th SIP day to March 17th, so we don't have students in the building.
All right, thank you, Kendra. Questions?
Yeah, just a comment. I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Thank you, Anisha. And so it's information this month, and then action item, Dr. K is thumbs up on that. Okay, next month we'll bring that back. All right, thank you, Kendra. All right, we're now at the superintendent report, and the first item is Dr. K's update.
Thank you very much. I was excited to hear during the board updates all of the great celebrations, getting through May-December, celebrating all the PTA events and time and energy. So you stole my thunder, but I like it. We have introduced a new word that I didn't know about before, which is May-December. So that was exciting to live all of the events and celebrations. I also was going to recognize graduation, which again, has already been recognized, but I'm thrilled to mention it again. It is great to see not only the number of students and parents, but the number of staff that come to recognize that milestone in the education of our students. The last day of school, I don't know if you're aware of that, that was today. We've heard it a couple times tonight. I am thrilled to see that so many students and staff were willing to come tonight for the recognition portion, knowing that today was the last day of school. And just a big kudos to all of our staff for another solid year. There was a time when people got, I think, a little amnesia when they asked, why are we going so late this year? And I had to remind them that this is the year. We started a little late because of construction. So to hear Casey recognize this as June 50th, I concur. But this was the year that we delayed the start, so we had a longer summer last year. So I'm just thrilled we made it to the end of the school year and excited to begin a lot more planning this summer leading into next school year. I want to give an update on the strategic planning process. I would assume all of you received an email regarding some feedback on the draft portrait of a learner / graduate. There were 8 elements that had been selected by the group of a wide range of representatives, from students to parents to administrators to teachers, and we had 6 runner-up elements, so we were asking for feedback on those. I also had the opportunity, and thank you to Michelle Klein, 7th grade teacher at Thomas Middle School, for giving me her classroom yesterday. So I got a chance to be in front of 6 middle school classes yesterday to get their feedback. I haven't taught middle school in a number of years, so I was very tired by the end of the day. The energy that they had on the second to last day of school, 7th grade, was high, but they were totally dedicated to the task at hand, which was similar to what I offered to all of the employees and the parents to give feedback, but I wanted to do the students in person. So I just appreciated their willingness to dialogue and be honest and truthful about some of the elements they didn't feel like represented what they feel like a portrait of a graduate or learner should be. So I'm excited to share that individual feedback with you guys at a later time, but it was just collected yesterday. So thanks to that group of students and Michelle for giving me her classroom on what was her last day with her kids. Today was more of a celebration with the team. So next step, I will be gathering my cabinet team next week. We're going to look at an opportunity to kind of put a conclusion and a bow on our strategic plan. So like an annual update on goals, but it's not necessarily annual because I haven't been doing that every year. It'll be more a culmination of the strategic plan goals and where we've made progress and still have opportunities for growth. I would anticipate that update coming in the fall, but I will be gathering my team with Perry. He'll be coming back next Monday to start on that process to put a bow on the strategic plan. And then we will continue to get feedback on the draft portraits that we are getting from the community, the employees, and students. So we are continuing to move in the strategic planning process, currently with the portraits, and then with a wrap-up of what we've accomplished from 21 to 25 with the current goals. Any questions on those topics? Awesome. I chose to save you from doing 5 videos, so sorry, Adam, but thank you, board. Next, letter B for me is the Freedom of Information report. There were 4 different Freedom of Information requests that were responded to in time. Any question on those 4 FOIAs? Not this month, but if you go back a couple months, there were absolutely some AI anticipated, we assume, were AI-generated FOIA requests, but not this month, no. All right, the next one is an action item, letter C, NSSCO resolution.
And with that, can I have a motion, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin.
I recommend that the Board of Education approve the resolution directing NSSEO School Board Representative to act in accordance with the will of the Arlington Heights District 25 School Board as presented.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
A second.
Thank you, Anisha. And this is the second time it's coming to us. So, and we did discuss it last month. Any questions at this time? Okay, seeing none, Lana, if you could please call the vote.
Tranter,
Yes.
Jogi,
Yes.
Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0. Can we continue on? Or are you?
If you don't mind. And then the next one, letter D, is the Finance Committee, which we have talked about in the previous meeting as well. So I will kick it off now to you, Greg. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, and so what we're bringing back this month is some information. Stacy reached out to neighboring or local districts that also have finance committees to get some information on how do they do that in their districts. And so you can see that's in board docs for you. And you can see there's really a wide variety of practices in terms of how they structure them, how often, who's there, what do they cover. So we're just going to continue that discussion here and see if there's consensus on whether we should put together a finance committee. You know, I did connect with Stacy since we got this, and we were talking, and I would say, Stacy, I'm not put words in your mouth, but we were thinking out loud together, and she was saying, you know, maybe after looking at this data, maybe with, you know, 4 or 5 times a year, it could be, you could call it quarterly, but it might not match the true quarterly in terms of a fiscal year, but just more matching when is the need throughout the year. So not necessarily monthly. In fact, it'd be about half that, right? 4 or 5 or less than half. I think we're still thinking 2 board members just right now, so we have a little more flexibility in terms of when we can schedule. And I think those are where we're at now. But Stacy, is there anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Thoughts from the board at this point?
Mr. President?
Yes.
No, can I ask, I notice on some of these, they're noted as they are open sessions. So is that where you're leaning?
No,
or is that what's required?
So when you have 3 or more board members, like this meeting or our policy committee meetings, those are, we have to abide by OMA regulations. So those are open session. You post notice about those. We take minutes. They're open to the public. We have a public comment. So what we're talking about, or at least the conversation is starting at, for us, for this committee, would be 2 members. So it wouldn't fall within those and wouldn't have those structural pieces. Again, allowing us the flexibility in terms, particularly in terms of scheduling and structure.
I had a comment. I thought it was really interesting with District D's example of having community members with financial background being included on the committee. I thought that was interesting, as we are kind of fiduciary responsible for tax dollar funds. So I thought that was interesting to look at.
Well, so to move the conversation forward, maybe, are there any objections to starting one this year? You can call it a pilot if you'd like. We have 1 year, and we're going to come back and look at our committees again next year, and we can see if that's the format we like. Do we want to change it? Get an open meetings act type format, maybe include different constituents, but this might be a place for us to start since it's our first time doing, you know, this kind of committee in the district. So I'm seeing nods, so it looks like there's a consensus around that. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Stacy, for helping us get that information, give us some perspective. So with that, I now have a draft, and I will share with the rest of you the committee assignments for the next year. Sometime this week, I'll get that out to you folks, okay? All right, thank you, everyone. And where are we on the agenda? I think that's it for superintendent's report, right? Anything else, Dr. K? Okay. Community input, I don't think we have any blue slips, correct, Lana? All right. So we are into the future agenda items. And so this is where we actually have a new topic that's to be discussed. It's the IESB President recommendation for Dr. Anisha Jogi. So Anisha, you want to give us a little background on that?
Thank you, Greg. I wanted to let my colleagues, the board colleagues, know that I'm considering putting my hat in the ring to serve as Illinois Association of School Board State President. Last year, as you know, I had put in my, with your support, I had, shared my interest, but I learned that President Mark Harms, who's done an excellent job serving, decided to stay in his role as the president, and because he has the opportunity to serve for a maximum of 2 one-year terms. So this past year was his second one-year term. And so I would truly appreciate, once again, my board's support as I consider this step to extend my voluntary service. There's an extensive application process, and I would provide that in advance to all of you before our next board meeting for your review and consideration. Truthfully, I've been thinking a lot about, should I do this again? I just feel very passionate. I'm a little gaga about school boards, and not only right here in our local community, but statewide and nationally too. I think it's just a really important body for the service of students, and in this case, the service of 2 million students across the state of Illinois. So I'm happy to do it, and I'd be really, it'd be a great opportunity if it became available to me. So I would really, truly appreciate your support.
Yeah. Well,
You would be awesome, Anisha.
Well, thank you, Anisha, for giving us the opportunity to support you. Your passion for this is absolutely clear. You've done so much work helping us become a high-functioning board, and you're such a great advocate. I know I couldn't think of a better person to sit in that role. So if the board approves, this will be a topic, because Anisha needs our an actual action item. That's a part of the requirement of the application, so it will become a topic for July. So, all right. Well, thank you for giving us that opportunity again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you.
All right. So the board will be going back into closed session to continue working on the same topics announced earlier. The board cannot take any action during closed session, and we will not be taking any action when we return to open session afterwards. So with that, can I have a motion to adjourn and return to close, please?
Mr. President,
Yes, Kevin?
I recommend that the board adjourn the public meeting and return to closed session to discuss the aforementioned topics.
Thank you, Kevin. A second, please.
Second?
Thank you, Anisha. Lana, can you please call the roll?
Jogi, Scapalato,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Buchberger,
Yes.
Cerniglia,
Yes.
Neerman,
Yes.
Tranter.
Yes.
Thank you, Lana. The motion carries 7-0, and thank you all. We'll see you in close.